Today we're going to be working on 2.6, solving equations by multiplication and division. The last section, 2.5, was solving equations by addition and subtracting. So this week we're just going to do today we are just going to do multiplication and division. Our first example is negative 3x equals 18. So like addition and subtraction, we had to do the opposite or the inverse operation. We have to do the same thing for this. Right now, I know this is really hard to picture, but right now we are doing 3 times x. So I'm going to write that like this so we don't get confused. 3 times x equals 18. So my next step is I need to look at, right now I am multiplying. If I were to look at these, there would be a little multiplication sign right in the middle to know that I'm multiplying. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So to get x by itself, I need to divide both sides by a negative 3. So I need to do 18 divided by a negative 3. Okay, so if I have a negative 3 divided by a negative 3, I'm going to get a 1. So on the left side, I'm left with an x equals. Now I'm going to do what is 18 divided by 3. I know 3 goes into 18 6 times, so my answer is going to be 6. But since I'm dividing by a negative 3, I have opposite operations in my division problem, so that means my answer is going to be negative. Remember, if they're both the same sign and you're dividing or you're multiplying it, your answer is always going to be positive. Why don't we write that into our notebooks? So in multiplying and dividing, if they are both the same sign, the answer is positive. If they are different signs, the answer is negative. Okay, this is what we need to know when we are multiplying or dividing integers. So I have a positive 18 divided by a negative 3, opposite signs. So my answer is going to be negative. All right, let's try another one. All right, now this one says negative 56 equals 8y. I need to get y by itself. Again, you have to picture 8y as 8 times y equals negative 56. So to get y by itself, I need to divide by 8, divide by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1, so this side we are left with a y. Then I need to do what is 56 divided by 8, and 56 is a negative number. Alright, so already I know my answer is going to be negative, because if they are opposite signs and I'm multiplying or dividing, that means my answer is negative. 8 goes into 56 7 times, so my answer is y equals negative 7. And just like the last thing that we did in 2.5, I can always check my answer by plugging my answer into the original problem up here. So how I would do that is do negative 56 equals 8 times a negative 7. So remember, when we're multiplying and dividing numbers, we look at the signs of our original problem. I have a positive, I have a negative, so I know my answer is going to be a negative answer because they are different signs. And 8 times 7 is 56. Bring down my negative 56, and yes, my answer checks out. Okay, now let's tackle another one. I have 14h equals 42. So what I'm going to do is I need to get h by itself. Again, you guys, we have a multiplying problem. There's nothing on this problem that has an x for multiplying. It doesn't have a dot for multiplying. It doesn't have parentheses for multiplying. We just need to know when we have a number right next to a variable that we are multiplying. So because we were multiplying, we have to do the inverse operation of multiplying. So I need to divide both sides by 14. Divide by 14. So 14 divided by 14 is 1, so I'm left with an H on the left side. Then I have to figure out how many times 14 goes into 42. So I know 14 times 2 is 28. 14 times 3, let's check it out. 4 times 3 is 12. 3, 42. Oop, we got it. So my answer is going to be 3. They are both the same signs. We got a positive number and a positive number. So that means they're same size. My answer is going to be positive. So H equals 3. If I go back and I do 14 times 3 equals 42, I know that that's 42 equals 42. Checks out. Now for this one, it's not really necessary that we check it, but once it gets to be a longer problem, you're really going to want to go back and check because you don't want to do all of that work and then end up with a wrong answer. It's really easy to just go back, check your work, and make sure you have the right answer. All right, let's do number 4. Negative 2x equals negative 34. So again, we're multiplying 2 times x, so I need to divide both sides by a negative 2. Divide by a negative 2. So negative 2 divided by a negative 2. Negative 2 goes into negative 2 one time. So again, we're left with x on the left side. And then I have negative 34 divided by a negative 2. My signs are the same. When I have the same signs, whether it's positive, they're both positive, or they're both negative, my answer is always going to be a positive number. So now I just divide it out. 2 goes into 3 one time, minus 2. I'm left with 1. Bring down my 4. 2 goes into 14 7 times. So my answer is a positive 17. Remember, oops, I forgot to put my negative sign in here. So I've got a negative and a negative. 2 negatives when we're multiplying or dividing make a positive. So my answer is x equals 17. We can always check it out. Negative 2 times 17 equals negative 34. Negative 2 times 17, 2 times 17 is 34. I've got opposite signs and I'm multiplying, so my answer is going to be a negative 34 equals negative 34. All right, let's try another one. Okay, now this is where we're going to start getting into dividing. A lot of you are having a hard time picturing that k over 5 is dividing. We think it might be a fraction. We think it might just be who knows what it is, but that means dividing. I could rewrite this same problem as k divided by 5 equals 6. But now, you guys, we are going to start writing it like this. K over 5, K over 5, or k divided by 5 is how we would say it when we're reading it to somebody. So because I have divided by 5, I am going to do k divided by 5 times 5. So that means I need to multiply the other side by 5 as well. So I've got a 5 on the bottom, 5 on the top. We know that those cancel out, make a 1. I'm left with a k on one side. And 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, there's my answer. Let's check it. 30 divided by 5 equals 6. I know that 30 divided by 5 does equal 6. So our answer does check out. Okay, now let's try another one. I have negative 3 equals n divided by 7. So to both sides, I need to multiply by 7. Multiply by 7. So my 7's cancel out, make a 1. So I'm left with n on the right side. Negative 3 times 7, I've got a negative number, and I've got a positive number. So I know opposite sides, my answer is going to be negative. So 3 times 7 is 21. So my answer is a negative 21. I can check that out by doing negative 3 equals negative 21 divided by 7. 21 divided by 7 is a 3. I've got a negative sign and a positive sign. So my answer is going to be negative because those are opposite. And I check out. Okay, number 7, x divided by 12 equals 0. So how I'm going to get rid of that 12 to get that x by itself is multiply both sides by 12. So x, those two can cross off. Left with 1, 1, so I'm left with x on the left side. 0 times 12 is 0. So there's my answer. X equals 0. I can always check it out. 0 divided by 12 equals 0. 0 divided by 12 is, of course, 0. So it checks out. All right, now I have this one. This one's going to require a little bit of extra work because we have a negative 1 in front of the m, and we have divided by 55. So we have negative 1 times m, and we have a divided by 55. So my first step is I'm going to multiply both sides by 55. Multiply by 55. Again, that's going to cross off, make a 1, make a 1. So I'm left with negative m equals 55. So how I'm going to get rid of this negative sign, because we always want our variable to be positive when finding our answer, is I am going to divide both sides by a negative 1. Divide by a negative 1. So negative 1 divided by negative 1 is just going to leave a positive 1. Both the same sign, so we know two signs dividing by going to make a positive, so now I'm left with m on the left side. 55 divided by a negative 1, I can just think, what is 55 divided by 1? It is 55. But then I have a negative sign and a positive sign. When those signs are opposite, our answer is going to be negative. So our answer is m equals negative 55. Please, please, please pay very close attention to this, you guys. It's going to be very easy to say, okay, I got m by itself, but don't forget to bring down our negative sign that's in front of the m. That is very important because you would have told me the answer is m equals 55, but that's not true. M equals negative 55, so pay very close attention to that. Okay, our next one is m divided by a negative 3 equals 21. Again, we're dividing, so the inverse operation of dividing is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by a negative 3. Multiply by a negative 3. Remember to do it to both sides. And my negative 3's cross out to make a 1, 1. So m equals, we now have our 21 times a negative 3, opposite sign, so I already know my answer is going to be negative. What is 21 times 3? Let's figure it out. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. So we just have to bring our trusty 63 over there, and our answer is m equals negative 63. Now to plug that back in, I would do negative 63 divided by negative 3 equals 21. Let's figure that out to make sure we are correct. So negative 63 divided by a negative 3. Both sides are negative, so I know my answer is going to be positive. So 3 goes into 6 2 times, minus 6, equals 0. Bring down my 3. 3 goes into 3 1 time. So if I bring down this 21 and bring this 21 over here, my answer is 21 equals 21. It checks out. All right, let's do another example. This time I have y divided by a negative 21 equals negative 21. So let's multiply both sides by negative 21. So negative 21's cancel out to make 1. So I'm left with y equals negative 21 times a negative 21. All right, let's figure that out. 21 times 21. Again, both signs are the same, so I know my answer will be positive when I find it. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Add my 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Add them up. 1 plus 0 is 1, 2 plus 2 is 4, and 4 plus 0 is 4. So my answer will be 441. I can divide my 441 divided by a negative 21. That's going to go in there 2 times, minus 21 times 2, 42. Should have been able to do that in my head. 2 left over, bring down the 1. 21 goes in 21 one time. Got a negative and a positive. So I know my answer is going to be a negative 21 equals negative 21. Checks out. Alright, and I just want to remind you, after you watch this section and hand in the homework, it is time for a quiz. So please make sure that you study everything we've learned so far. You can rewatch the videos, you can look back in your notes, and be ready for a quiz the next day after you hand in the homework to this section. Thanks for watching.